Hi guys, welcome to the video. Today we're going to talk about something that I get questions about quite a lot. I think a lot of us have had this kind of similar experience, and so hopefully today we can come up with some solutions. So the question is, often I like to, I feel like I want to paint, but I'm not sure what to paint. And you're just kind of struggling with trying to figure out, what ideas of what to paint or where to start and things like that. So I wanted to go through a couple of different ideas. Okay, so one of my first suggestions and top suggestions, and if you have been around the channel, you know that I really enjoy doing colour swatches. So I started doing that. I was never sure kind of what to paint, how to paint. So I just started putting colour onto paper with the brush. And, straight away you're starting to become familiar with your watercolors, with the paper, with how much water you need, how much color you need, different ways to apply it, different brushes and things like that. Then the other thing and that is really so helpful. I think a lot of times it's very underestimated how much that can help you. So I highly recommend just sitting down with your colors, mixing them onto paper, just putting water on, a big wash of water on the paper and dropping color in, just mixing on your palette, mixing different colors and then putting those down on your page. Also, color wheels. You can see like on this page, this is kind of a continuation of the color garden ones we were doing in kind of the sketchbook video, so the sketchbook haul video. So doing color wheels, I do have a couple of videos on the channel about color wheels, but I really love the way that the color wheel helps the colors to interact. You can mix them together and see kind of how they can change, depending on which colors you mix them with. Do you mix them with a darker color, with a lighter color? You can mix them with the neighboring color, so there's a lot of interest there and things that you can learn. And then the other thing is just so you can see here, this was just a wash of mixes and something we were practicing for the landscape class actually, and then I just sketched some frames on top of it, and that's kind of where I was really thinking, I'd love to kind of do more of that, the kind of lace the technical drawing more with the watercolor. And so that is where those kind of things can lead you to being inspired and feeling like you can figure out what to paint. So the next thing, so I'm showing you here some screenshots from, so I actually started on Map Crunch, which a lot of artists use to get a street view, and then you can kind of use that as your starting place for artworks. So I often get onto Map Crunch and then I click something up the top. I don't know what it is, but I end up on a different website. I think it's sort of part of the same thing, but it's called instantstreetview.com. So I'll link them both below, but I really like the Instant Street View one because you can type in an actual address, but I will often just type in Florence, Vienna, Venice, Rome or something like that. and then you're immediately in the middle of that city, and then you can just kind of walk around like you're just wandering around the streets. Like for example here you can see these beautiful paintings just on the building facades and all of the like beautiful carved elements. So I was just wandering around Rome on the iPad, which was really nice. And the thing that I was noticing as I walked around are the beautiful pink buildings, this blush pink, and these just gorgeous pastel colours, and the soft light, and yeah, it was just really, really nice. So hopefully this isn't sort of going too fast, but I ended up with quite a few screenshots. So but what I was initially looking for were these paintings on the corner of the streets of like Mary and this, and so it's like I think the one that I'm painted, I'll show you next, is of Mary, and I've seen it quite a lot of times like on Instagram, and yeah, so this is just a really lovely way to find some inspiration. So on MapCrunch you do get like a daily view, which is nice because it just takes you somewhere, but then when you go into like the instant street view, like this is the Doge's Palace at Venice, and then you can see like these beautiful, and you can zoom in, which is really helpful, and like look at the building here and the carvings, and it's just really, really lovely you know, things to kind of figure out. Like here we're in New York, so I clicked in Bergdorf Goodman and the Plaza, or like Central Park. I really love going up like the side of Central Park and like Fifth Avenue, and then you go into these cross streets like starting at kind of 62nd East, and you get these beautiful like yeah, facades. So yeah, that is another really, really exciting way. Like I really enjoyed that the other morning. I just kind of wandered around and it was really lovely. So this is the painting that I was talking about. I was kind of looking for that building, which I didn't actually find the exact building. But yeah, if you know what I'm talking about and you know kind of the address, let us know below. But so the first idea was just to get colour onto the paper, mix things, swatch things, make colour wheels, and then, you know, once you know, feel a little bit more like you want to, like you kind of know something that you might be interested in painting, you can go onto somewhere like this instant street view and just look for different buildings, different landscapes, different landmarks. For example, for me, I'm really interested in architecture and kind of painting these old stone facades. So, you know, that's something that I'm interested in. That's what I would like to, I think, and also like with the portrait within, like that is really inspiring to me and interesting. That and you know, fascinating that like in these countries the outside of the homes and the outside of the buildings are so adorned with beauty, and like they have a painting up on the streets for people to you know, just look at as they walk by. I think that's just so beautiful. So yeah, I would love to kind of design one of these and do this in like more depth. But so you can see here, like I'm just starting in a smaller sketchbook. This is like 9x6. This is the Holbein white ibis, and so I'm just doing something on a small scale so that I can first of all just sort of work things out, and it's achievable. Like if I do it in a bigger format, it's going to take me a lot longer. So those are all things that I consider. And so as you're thinking about what to paint, it is important to kind of be realistic with your time frame and kind of what you're trying to achieve there as well. So like you can see, I will show you here in a minute as well. And I really liked the stone cherub at the bottom of the frame. So the proportion ended up being that her face was almost the same size as like my paintbrush. But that's what I needed to do to get this done and to get this filmed. So So yeah, the second thing is kind of be realistic with your time frames and paint something that you're interested in, something that you want to practice. So you know, considering that this is in a sketchbook and you are just practicing something, it doesn't have to be the final finished painting or artwork. I think especially when you're having a hard time figuring out what to paint, that's pressure that you just don't want to put on yourself painting an artwork. You just want to allow, you know, space for creativity and to kind of think about different things. Think about, you know, color and shapes and form and how you want to mold all those things together. So yeah, the other thing I wanted to say is that I am putting up another video that's going to explain a little bit more about the mixes and the colors that I've used in all of these paintings as well. So yeah, that'll be up a little bit later today. But so this next, kind of the third idea that I have is we're still, you can see that we're still kind of in this stone kind of structure, and I've changed kind of, so this mix is buff titanium and hematite for more of a like the limestone, and then the other stone I used French ochre and hematite a lot more. I really love the patina on the old buildings, and I find that hematite helps you sort of get that look quite softly as well. But you could also use like a you know, an oxide black or like a granulating Mars black or something as well. So yeah, so this the idea for this kind of this third idea, this is a spread that I actually I sketched out. So when the Queen passed, I sketched out a few different like you know, what am I trying to say here? Like the little different moments, little different vignettes of what we were seeing on the news, what was happening. So this is one of them. So I took some screenshots of just like what was on the news. So when all the flowers were being placed at Buckingham Palace, and you got this really beautiful, cheery, just kind of sea of flowers, and it was really lovely. And yeah, so that's what I'm painting here. And then you can see that I'm kind of doing that wet on wet. So first of all, I wet the paper because I want everything to kind of meld together and blend together, and that's kind of how you saw it. You didn't really see, you know, individual flowers and things, but there were some interesting elements that stood out, and one was just these really pale blue like wrapping for the flowers, like they'd all sort of come from the same shops, or they just all had this same wrapping, which was really nice. And then you saw like the green stems poking out as well. So, but I think I keep getting sidetracked. So this third idea is to paint something that's relevant, so something that might be on the news, something that's happening that is interesting you. So you know, for example, this the Queen has been the Queen for my entire life, and so yeah, it was a really sort of moving and poignant moment in history, I guess. And a lot of things were like and also someone left a little corgi there with the flowers, so I put that in there, which was really nice. And again, because this is a sketchbook, it's one of those things where you don't have to be perfect, and then you can kind of think about things that you may want to improve on. So this might help kind of inform future paintings or future pages where I can go, oh yeah, I need to work on like animals, and you know, I could do a page of dogs or corgis. So but yeah, so find something interesting that's happening, that's kind of current, and it doesn't have to be necessarily of historical significance. It might just be something that you see on the way to the grocery store, or you know, something that was even in the grocery aisle, or something that's just piqued your interest for that day. And and then it becomes kind of like a little bit of a visual, not just journal, but like a journey, like a bit of a visual narrative of things that you've been experiencing, enjoying, finding interesting. So okay, so here you can see another spread, and this is a totally different idea about the same moment in history and the same moment in time. So this one here is was when they were doing the procession, and this was a really moving thing to watch and experience, I think, especially watching King Charles and Princess Anne walking all that way. And I was also thinking about Princess Anne curtsying to the Queen as she drove past the last time. These things were really moving, and so there was just a lot of thought and kind of discussion that went into it, and so I wanted to kind of just think about that and ponder it, and sort of just use that as a kind of create this moment in my sketchbook. So you can see that I kind of changed the placement a bit. I was also, like, you can see when we go back to it, the little guards, so in the beginning they're quite straight and tall, and then as they go on, it was quite an effort. Like, I can imagine that for all of them, walking all that way, there was quite an effort that went in. You could even see, like, the horses. So it's a little tribute to the the strength that they showed as well. So So this was a very interesting one because there were so many different elements that went into this page that were, you know, that from the gold angel, and I tried to paint that without using like gold ink or something. It's actually really difficult to paint metal in watercolor. Yes, so anyway, that's something that I want to work on and I want to get better at. So again, you know, that's kind of on my list of things that interest me, things that I want to work on. And then there were just these other things like the trees and the road that they were walking up and the flags that were lining it. And then we had the emblem that I put there, and the emblems in these kind of pastels, but also this like the peach pop, which is really beautiful and bright, and the clouds, but then also the sky was blue. So kind of trying to kind of put these elements in of how we were feeling. I mean, this was a very kind of tender time for the family, but also it was a very public time for everyone. So and it was a very moving you know, time as well. So yeah, I wanted to try and, you know, put those things and those memories into this page. And then obviously, like, I've got some inks here. So this is the FW Shimmering Blue. I love the shimmering ones. Yeah. So hopefully this was helpful. I think that we could probably even do another installment of this video and break it down even to some simpler things. But what I'm going to do in the meantime is put a list over on my blog. So I will put a link to it below, and I'll just put as many things as I can. If I can put 50, if I can put 100, I'll just put things on that will be interesting to paint, and then you can go there and kind of look through the list. I also have things on like printables on my shop, which I'll link below, which you can use as a starting place to paint. But some of the things on the list, and these are some things that I have painted before. So for example, paint a page full of petals, paint a page full of flowers, paint a Liberty print, paint a wallpaper design, paint your state motto or your country flag, or your state flower. So yeah, those things I will put. And then also this is a little bit of a snippet of the next video that's coming. So it'll be the mixes that I've used, the colors that I've used in these paintings. And what's the other thing? So I'm getting quite a few questions about the class. I've kind of mentioned it and done snippets. It's still not ready. I'm hoping within the next 3 to 4 weeks, but I will let you know, and I'm possibly going to put it on a premiere so that you can in the first 24 hours I'm going to offer it at a super discount rate. So hopefully that becomes affordable for everyone who wants to try it. So I will put like that video as a premiere so that you know when that's coming and when the 24 hours is starting, so that you don't miss out if you want to do that. But I will let you know, like probably in the next video in 2 weeks or something like that, I will you know, have more info about that. So yeah, I hope that's everything. Just we've been doing a little bit more baking. I haven't really done any knitting this last couple of weeks, but yeah, I hope you guys are doing well, and I will see you in well, I'll see you in the next video for this weekend, and then I will see you in a couple of weeks. Have a lovely week, guys. Bye.